Puerto Rican kid, bald head, loves snakes, loves Blizzy, Sergio Chacon.
Yeah. What up, Pa?
Peace. Welcome to the DBS podcast. It's your boy Sergio Chacon, aka Blizzy Chacon. That shit whack. I mean, it's always gonna be Dirtbag Shit podcast. The DBS podcast. Peace and welcome to the DBS podcast. It's your boy Sergio Chacon in full effect. Small hoodie season is upon us, and I got them in all different flavors. Know that. Check it out this week. We have a fantastic guest. She is a phenomenal comic, very funny, one of my absolute favorites. You've seen her on Netflix and Comedy Central. Please welcome Miss Yamaneika Saunders.
Appreciate you coming through to the DBS podcast. How you feeling?
I'm good. How you feeling? Sorry it's been taking me so long. You know, all this shit going on. Every day is crazy.
Yeah, you look great. I like those earrings, boo. Goddamn. Background is dope.
Thanks. Let me put this screen so I can see. Yeah. I was trying to.
Look great. You look like you got a nice glow to you. You look well hydrated. Your glasses are looking fresh. The lip gloss is popping.
I just got done working out. I'm trying to see if my camera, because this camera is clearer. Hold on. Okay. Here we go.
Yeah, and the audio actually sounds decent. Hopefully the finished product will be fine.
Yeah, I mean, I do my, I do all my shows from this computer.
Yeah, it looks real crisp.
I'll put some backlight on. It's a little dark.
Oh shit, you gotta hook it up. Nice. And we're gonna, freestyle and have fun with it. I just want to know how you're doing. And I think that's gonna make for a good podcast because I'm a big fan of your work, you know that, and you're always just naturally funny to me. So usually I'll sound like an outline with you. I'm like, yo, pull the trigger.
All right, let's do it. I'm excited. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure, boo-boo. Overall, how you feeling? You feeling good? You feeling collected? You feeling grounded? All, good spirit? How you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, as can be. I'm just busy, tired.
That's a good thing, man. There's a lot of motherfuckers with idle hands ain't doing shit but picking up alcohol and drugs.
I mean, yeah, I could be doing the same thing. I didn't say I was busy and getting paid. I'm busy. They need to start trying to create stuff because that's trying to sell.
Yeah. Are you fucking with any outdoor shows? You ain't doing that shit yet, right? Although I did see that you were headlining the comedy festival in Connecticut. Did you go and do that?
Yeah, I did that. It was my first time out. I hadn't done shows in probably 5-6 months.
It's a long time, right?
It's a long time. I haven't gone that long without doing stand-up, even when I used to quit all the time.
I remember reading that shit. You used to quit like every 6 hours.
Yes, I stayed quitting.
Yo, you used to affect me emotionally. I was like, why is she doing this?
The game is difficult. It's not fair. And as in life, but what are you going to do? You gotta make adjustments, and you gotta try to make lanes and stuff, which is why I'm doing so much work now because we're just trying to create content. I was doing my podcast. I've had that podcast for 5 years. People are like, oh, you got a podcast? Because I'm not I'm so focused on the stand up and everything else. It's sort of like the podcast. I do the podcast. It's my free time just to hang and relax. So, and surprisingly, people, it's like nobody knows it's there, but everybody knows it's there. I have all these fans from other parts of the world. So, I was doing that, but then I didn't want to just do that. I wanted to do, I had a couple of projects that fell through, because of not only just the pandemic, but the shift in the business, people getting fired, people downsizing, Everything became immediate. Didn't need, people to say, oh, we don't need all, 500 employees. We need 4. We don't need 10 shows to develop. We need 2. And, in the process of that, I lost a lot of money, road gigs, lost a lot. So it was very, it's weird. I think if I was the only one that had a bad experience during this time, I probably would have been like, oh my God, I gotta kill myself. Although I wouldn't kill myself, but, or I hope I don't kill myself. I don't know what goes through people's mind when they get that depressed, where they feel like they have to, but I know people get there. I hope I never get there. But I think if I had not been going through this with the rest of the world, I probably would have been really upset. But because, you're going through all this stuff with the world, I think it just gives you more of a perspective on, okay, so something has to be done, right? It's hard when it's just you versus the whole world. It's like, well, we all got to do something because the world can't collapse,
Word.
No.
Word. I think it's a special time in that aspect. I share my livelihood with training and stand-up, mostly training. And I got to keep it innovative and interesting for myself, as one would do who's doing full-time entertainment. It's like, we ain't doing stand-up. So if you got the audience to listen to the podcast or any other content, pull the trigger on that. And vice versa. I was I was fucking doing training sessions in person, and then one day to the next, I'm like the Puerto Rican Billy Blanks on video, like doing virtual sessions. That shit wasn't easy.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that shit. I don't want to motivate somebody I couldn't see. Like, I was literally looking at a screen and going, come on, guys, you're doing great. I'm lying. I don't know what they're doing.
Right. No, I understand it. It was, listen.
That was the holding space, and I made it work for me. You know what I'm saying? You conform to it, you adapt to it. And then I was like, it's not that bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I had to tweak it into my own flavor. Yeah. I couldn't.
And that's a part of life.
Mm-hmm.
I think like just anybody during this time, a lot of people have been hitting me up, a lot of people sad, going through things.
How did it feel to finally go out and do stand-up after 5 months off? That shit must have been it could have been real nerve-wracking, like driving over there and all that. How was it?
I'll be honest. I don't think I ever have been, ever since I had an experience. I don't even want to bring it up because I talk about it all the time. People know this story about me, something happened that changed my career and my life and career at the same time. I'll just say it. When I got booed at Showtime at the Apollo, after that, I really didn't give a fuck about anything, right? So in terms of the stage, I've been in so many precarious situations before. I've gotten on so many stages where it's like, oh, you gonna get on this stage? I've been in so many fucked up situations. I started roasting, which is awkward and humiliating and can be embarrassing and hard. And I really don't give a fuck, because I've done everything. I've said everything. I've been in every situation. Doesn't mean I don't fail. It just means that generally I don't give a fuck anymore. I don't get nervous. So we were driving over there. I went with Marion Groden, who was one of my
Who's awesome. She's great company, funny.
So funny. Yeah. And we're riding over there. And I realized, I'm like, I don't even remember my set. Because I was in a tricky situation where I had gotten rid of my old material because I had taped things. I had taped the Netflix, I had taped and then I did an album and got rid of all the material, and so we started from scratch.
And that's it's hard to let go of that material a little bit. Or do you find like it's off your shoulders, or do you feel like, fuck, man, I want to do this bit, but I did it, on the album, I can't. Do you ever feel like that?
I actually feel different about I understand that. I do understand that. I feel different about letting material go because I'm constantly like, I'm more like, I gotta get rid of doing this because this is what I'm doing now, So and plus, it takes us so long to get on we've known each other for eons.
Yeah.
We look young, but we ain't like no babies. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm talking about, I'm carrying material from when I came here when I was 20 years old. You know how long ago that was?
Yeah.
So when I purged, I was just like, we just been holding material. We've been holding sets because the set worked. And you can't get rid of a set until you've either somebody says, I want to buy it so you can put it on, or you have produced it, put it out, taped it, and put it to the world. It's all a body of content that people want to see. So because I had these specials where people can see them, it was easier for me to let them go. Now, because, when my Comedy Central special was my first special where I had to go, okay, I can't do that set anymore. And I had a moment where I was like, yo, what am I going to do? Right? Because that was so much of who I was. But because it had been that set, and then I was fortunate right after that, in a short period of time, to get a Netflix, it allowed me to get rid of material that was so far removed from me anyway, because I had been holding it for so long, and I had gone through a couple of stages mentally, emotionally, and age-wise, where it was very easy for me to pick up new material. I didn't know that it would be. So, things started to come, and I started working on that. Now, the new material that I was working on, thank God it's been before everything shut down, I was able to do Live at the Cellar, so I got a lot of material out there.
Right.
Comedy Central just did a best of the best digitally for me. Content is there. I just did a 15-minute digital set, so some of the content is there. I had done Laugh Mob Laugh Track, so some of the content is there. It's all sort of like squashed around the new material.
Right.
And we were like, okay, we're going to tape it all, put it together, and put it out there. And then this happened. So when I went to go do Connecticut after doing no stand-up for like 5-6 months, I mean, it's a whole new world. We went through an apocalypse. Ain't nobody talking about that shit that I was talking about. You know what I'm saying? Not that it was frivolous shit. It's just people are not receiving the sort of angst that I had. And I'm not saying they're not receiving it. I think it's not funny, but what I'm saying is like, I was talking about maybe, trying to have kids and, not being in the same situation as my peers because I did comedy. I'm not married. I don't have kids. I have a focus on that. Where's my life? Who's going to take care of me when I get older? Talking about my grandparents, how I took care of them. People, we went through an apocalypse. So
still going through that shit.
Still, yeah. And then they said round 2. You know what I'm saying? Round 2, I'm going to order me some gloves from Everlast so I can live my life, and start boxing up the coronavirus because you don't know where the nigga's at. That's the
word.
Oh, the coronavirus is like, is he here? And I have citizens on my phone. So citizens, not only has citizens decided to tell you where the crime is, they tell you what fucking coronavirus is. And so, but they don't tell you exactly. They just go, it's increasing. Where? Yeah. Where's it increasing?
Yo, that Citizens app will bring up your anxiety levels.
Yeah.
Big time. My wife has it.
Ain't around my neighborhood no more. It's been 7-8 niggas stabbed up in it. Every morning when I wake up, like when Dionne Ward used to say, when I wake up, I say a little prayer for you. When I wake up, I gotta say a prayer for about 7 niggas who been stabbed and they going back to old school shit too. Sergio, they stabbing niggas. They not even shooting niggas anymore. They stabbing and there was a brick throwing. I was like, oh, these niggas is going crazy. They going arcade.
Yeah. It's like, who the fuck, it takes a certain mentality to puncture somebody's skin. Like, I'm thinking, who does that shit? You got to be in close range, like to puncture. You're going through clothing, you're like, that's a lot of work. And it's like, fucking.
That's true. That's so true.
That Citizens app. So Liz has it. My wife has it. And the other day, she was like, someone was hit with a pumpkin and got hit by a car. And I was like, it's on 5th Street. That's the corner of the... And I was like, no, that wasn't me. I'm okay. No pumpkins. But she was like, yeah, and they're laying on the floor right on the corner. I'm like, shit. So there's a bunch of stuff that pops up randomly, sporadically throughout the day. And I mean, it's at first it's entertaining, but then it gets you like, yo, I went on a ninja combat site and I bought a baton and flying ninja stars and mace for my wife. Like, what the fuck am I doing, ninja? So I kind of went in, Yamaneika, I went in like playfully, like, oh, I'll buy me some ninja stars for me and Charlie so we could play. And then I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get some mace and I'm also gonna get a baton. So I bought all this shit. It should be coming in like next 2 days. Fuck, I'm gonna do it.
You got shit that you got to either shake.
What's that?
You went and bought shit that you either got to shake.
I don't even know how to use it.
Some momentum, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you need some instant shit. You need, like, let me tell you something. This is what I bought. Now I'm gonna put some cayenne pepper water in this shit. So if a nigga come my way, he got me fucked up in his eye with some cayenne.
That's a good trigger too.
Let me tell you something. It's one of those triggers where it gives a long squirt and then it slowly comes up. Let me tell you something, Conyo. I kill these niggas with some pepper spray.
Yeah, so all this stuff affects you, you know, whether or not we believe it. Like, we're strong, but we're sensitive. You know what I'm saying? I've always thought about that in regards to you. Like, your exterior, like, when you go at things that you're passionate about, you're like a Uzi. Ba, 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 ba. Your stand-up's like that. Your personality is like that. But you're also a very soft, sensitive person. I know you, you know what I'm saying? So you open up with certain things. And I think that's what people really like about you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, oh, this is the truth, but I am a fucking softy at the same time. Like, I want love and I love people. So I noticed that about you. And it's very evident to me. So with that, sometimes we have this shell of defense, right? And we think things are not affecting us. But the fact that I'm on this website looking for weapons, it's affecting me somehow. You know?
One, to speak to my personality. And I think a lot of women of color, I think a lot of Black women have this where I am big, you know, plus size Black woman. I don't have time. Nobody's giving me time to be some ditzy white bitch. It's like, what happened? You know what I'm saying? Like, and they give white women that extent to every level. Like, she could even be unattractive and fat and they'll be like, oh my God, are you okay?
Yeah.
And so because we don't have that, a lot of times, like when I first got on stage, I was going on stage with thick ass niggas who, you know, I was 21 years old. You think these niggas was waiting for me to catch up? They was giving me the business. Yeah. You know, I'm in a business that also gives women the business, especially Black women who they think are ignorant about business. So, you know, and I'm on stages where I got to fight with people because they have a perception of something or they want to come and, you know, so it is always me protecting myself. When I feel comfortable and I don't have to be on guard, you will get the softer side of me. And that's why I'm, you know, but there's things in life where you have to fight, you have to protect. And, you know, listen, during this time, a lot of people do feel vulnerable. I just got finished watching, what's the Social Media Dilemma. And then there's something else.
I just watched it too.
It's, you know, the thing I went in, it took me a couple days because when I see white people blowing the whistle on white people, I got to take a pause. You know what I mean? Like, because you don't know who the villain is in this. You know what I'm saying? Like, you may think one person is obviously set up to be the villain, but you gotta put your glasses on. You got to really be in there and be like, you know, which nigga is which. Now, as I watched it, I said, you know, it is very interesting. And it has a lot to do with marketing and it has a lot to do with manipulation and psychology, how they would do the internet. And of course they would do the internet this way. And they say social media, but I say the internet, right? Because they're trying to put all this stuff on. Oh, it's because you go to Facebook so much and Twitter and Instagram. And this is where you get your information source or your news source. And it's like, the fact that we had so much information lazily at our disposal when I was a person who grew up and I went to the library and we did research and there was nothing, like there's still libraries but people are not going to them and people are not checking out books and reading information that has been also researched by other people that have gone to the library and done their research.
Right.
gone across the globe. You know, it's like, I don't want somebody telling me about what's happening in Fiji, and they're not there. Fiji's remote. It's like, go there and tell me. Don't, I saw this, I read that. So now we kind of have everybody think they know this sort of popcorn age of information. But one of the things I did not like about the social media experiment that they were showing here is at some point it was an overproduction of making us feel not so much what the real danger is that it changes our perception of who we are and how we digest information and what we think is important. This documentary was spending a lot of time trying to make us second guess the information that we're receiving as if it is propaganda, which I think is dangerous because we are seeing a lot of footage of Black people being murdered by the cops. And I don't want you to try to tell the world that that's propaganda or that's being rushed to you just because you're into it. Because it doesn't change the fact that that's still physical evidence that we are seeing that is happening in abundance.
Absolutely. It's interesting. I didn't even take that perspective of it because what I think of fake news is the shit that when they talk about anything on the other side, like anytime I see police brutality, I believe that shit. That's the real information. But yeah, someone who doesn't want to believe that might just take that. I'm like, oh yeah, it's all part of the social media experiment. They're trying to persuade us into believing that Latinos and Blacks are always the victims and stuff. I didn't even think that that's a possibility.
But they do that even when they
it goes both ways.
And the thing is, it's not so much. Listen, the psychological warfare that they're talking about is just psychological warfare that's being played on everyone. Right. For monetary reasons.
Right.
But this is the same psychoanalysts that they do on ethnic people here. This is what they did on slaves. This is what they did on Black people here. When people go, well, how come Black people are always in the ghetto and they can't get out of this? They can't. These same shits that you see and the way we think about ourselves, our self-hatred, how, we even hate across, like, if you got all these different races of people and cultures coming here, and guarantee you, people gonna jump off a boat and still hate niggas, right? They're not gonna hate white people who come in here and sort of run shit the way they want to run it. They come and hate the people that are already disenfranchised by the white people that are running shit, right? So they've been playing mind games with us. I thank God for my grandparents, my mother, my father, because as a kid, I was taught, they woke me up as a baby. Some niggas don't wake up until they in adult age. And they don't really wake up because they don't have somebody shaking them. I was shook as a kid, so I don't trust none of this shit. I don't even trust when you telling me you do it. Like I said, those people with the technological humane, I don't even trust that. You know why? Because for the amount of tears for a white person to rat out another white person generally does not come from some humanitarian reason. It comes from some reason of you not being a part of this system that is making all this windfall of money. Because what is it about you that has caused you to think outside this structure of money, which is why you all got into this? Technology, people get into technology, people think, oh, they're just smart. No, they're smart, but they also get into it because they know that's where the world is going and that's where money is. That's why when you watch the thing, you don't see no people of color nowhere. Everybody there was white. They pulled out one Black girl at the end that was like NYU law professor talking about the legality of where we're going. I think there was one Latin girl that was the woman. I think she might have been Latin. I'm not sure. But other than those two, just a bunch of white guys and some crazy looking, some white nigga with dreads.
Visibly, it took me a while to I didn't hear the first 30 seconds of what he was saying. All that whole thing, when someone's look is just jarring, it takes you a while to process. I'm like, what the fuck is this? The owner of Def Jam Records? Like I thought it was Steve Rubin or whatever.
Of white people too. When white people get dreads, they tired of white people too, because the amount of effort it takes for them to tease that hair so it crunches up. He got to do that. That's 5 hours just on one crook because they hair.
It's hard enough for a black person to keep the dreads tight. Yeah. A white person with the stringy hair, forget about it.
You gotta be like, wait, I got this. You all day long spraying and teasing because your hair is not gonna. So I was telling my friend this as well. I was talking to another friend of mine. I said, here's the problem for people of color here in America. We become victimized by a system that is specifically to benefit one group, and not even to benefit that group in totality, but to make sure that the people that do benefit from it come from that group. So I think that's why it's so hard to convince poor white people that they also suffering, because they have made whiteness the mascot, right, for success and money and wealth and all this. And not all white people are successful making money and things of that nature. Right. And so because they made whiteness the mascot for success, it's hard to convince these poor white people that, like, when Donald Trump only paid $750 in taxes for 1 year out of 10 years that he didn't pay taxes at all for like 10 years. He's robbing you as well, right? When he's going on and not handling the coronavirus, he's doing you a disservice as well. And because people don't see that, and they just go, oh, well, black is the problem or brown is the problem and people are lazy and this and that. We really can't move through a system of people not convincing themselves on the shit. Plus, it's the family reinforces them. Yeah. White families do a lot of time, if they are on racist shit, instilling and reinforcing that. Families of color don't do that, and they try to act like we do that. I said, when that 17-year-old white boy had his mother jump in the car with him, and they was laced up with guns and ammunition and
drove him to that protest, right?
Drove him there. He put himself in. This is like the biggest Kevin and Karen moment of the deadly Kevin and Karen, because they came there, he shot up people. The first thing I said is, you know why a lot of those kids were not prepared for the nonsense that he did? Is because black people and brown people are not telling their kids that white people need to be murdered, need to be extricated from their lives, need to be our problem. When we speak about race, for the most part, to our children, we speak about them as if they are prey to these predators. So we have to tell our kids what the problem is, especially the darker the kid is, you're not, when you encounter this whiteness, you are not going to be seen as a child. Even if you are, they're going to try to despitefully use you, be aggressive. That is a possibility. So that when you see them, your guard needs to be up, because they may cause you to lose your life on their shenanigans. Right. White people are teaching their kids, and not all, but these racist white people are teaching their kids, if we don't get rid of niggas, you're not going to have a job. You're not going to eat. The reason why we're suffering and you have to go to public school is because Mexicans are here. The reason I'm laid off from work and we don't have health care is because niggas is here. The reason why, and they teach them, and we've got to do something now because we got to make the world a better place. And we need to arm ourselves because also they're dangerous and they're deadly, and they show us as dangerous, deadly predators when we are the prey. And so now you go, oh yeah, of course that kid walked up there with his fucking mama and killed those people. And then guess what? Guess what white America did? And I'm going to
defended his ass.
They
defended him.
Defended him. And I'm going to say all, because you know what happened? You didn't hear no white people loudly Because that's what we need them to do when they say, oh, we don't stand with that. You need to also hear them go, hey, that he's got to go. He's got to be murdered. He's got to be in jail. Like this kid got to die. That's it. Because he killed somebody. Yeah. The justice that is exacted on people of color who just have the semblance of resisting arrest, even when they're not, even when they're complying, is death, depending on if they have allowed some skinhead or some Proud Boy or some KKK member to become a police officer, which is a thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what they do. And then they let these white supremacists join the police force and run free on people of color. So these people get murdered. These people get beaten up. These people get knees on their necks with no weapons to be found anywhere. Yeah. And then we talk about George Floyd, who has no gun on him, has nothing. And you still got white people going, well, he shouldn't have resisted arrest. Yeah. Where do you see him resisting arrest? Well, he shouldn't have done anything wrong. Do you know why the cops?
Even if he resisted arrest, you know what I'm saying? Like, like all of it is fucking dirtbag shit. And they will always change.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, but what I'm talking about is, of course, even if he resisted arrest, they don't get to murder him. And let me tell you something. Let me tell you what 4 grown men can do on one man. He wasn't fucking Hercules. Yeah. The fact that the guy was able to stand there with his knee on his neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds means he was not getting up for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. Does it take that long to put handcuffs on somebody? Yeah. But the bottom line is, we are trying to fight against people who are always going to make an excuse. So you could let's take, of course, he should not die because of this situation off the table. Even when you knock down the rest of their thing, that's what I'm telling you. Oh, well, he shouldn't have resisted arrest. He wasn't resisting arrest. He complied. Oh, well, he shouldn't have got the cops called in the first place. Do you know why the cops were called? The store owner called the cops because they thought he gave him a Confederate
counterfeit bill,
$20 bill that we come to find out, guess what? It wasn't. It wasn't. So all of this got into motion. And the reason why we can't have the cops, listen, if I wake up every day and I go, that's sad. We got to be safer. We got to figure out how to police ourselves. Because I won't call the cops. I ain't calling the cops for shit. I ain't calling the cops for them to come up here and do some nonsense. And I think the biggest thing that when we talk about defunding, and because we have so many enemies also on our side, when you got people like, Cuckoo Kachu, Coon, Charles Barkley, and the
thing is, I can't help, but it's almost like I don't know what's the correct analogy for this, but I'm going to try. Listening to those fucking assholes like Charles Barkley, the Hodge twins, Candace Owens, like there's something about it that I feel like I need to listen to, but then it makes me mad. Like it extracts energy from me, but I feel like I need to listen to it. And one thing that seems consistent with them across the board, and I'm not sure, is that they try to make it seem as if Black America, that's just what they say, like they're taking on this role of being the victim and just strap on your boots and work hard. It's not that fucking simple. And they really play that up. Like, oh yeah, people are telling you you're the victim. You're not the victim. Just abide by the law. Like they're all hardcore law and order. It's such bullshit. And it's super dangerous and irresponsible. And I'm like,
it's like boxing, right? Right. So if you, I might fuck up this analogy, so correct me if I'm wrong.
Go for it. I'm excited.
But like, if I get into a ring with an opponent I can't beat, but I gotta get in a ring with them because of the cards or whatever, I gotta go through the natural steps to fight this person to move to the next level, and I can't beat them. It seems like I would start doing things to to cushion the blows of the hits that I'm going to take for them, because I'm down anyway. So I just want them to go a little like, I ain't gonna fight you like you gotta fight me. Like I'm not gonna fight you like Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield, so you can really knock me the fuck out. I'm gonna do something, and I'm gonna make it so that you like whatever they call it, the cards, right? You hit the numbers or whatever by the count. We're gonna go by the count. And then I
like the decision, by
decision, right? So I'm gonna do whatever I can to get you to do by decision. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, or take some type of pity on me, or get it over with. And this is what these niggas is doing. Candace Owen, you can look at her; she's like a frog, right? So
her head looks like a vegetable you pulled out the garden. It's like
like test tube babies that came out of a cloning facility. And the reality is, somewhere along the line, Candace Owens' Black family failed her. Somewhere along the line, there's insecurities, because this also happens. Some people are. A lot of these Black people that you see turn on other Black people, they either were like nerds, right, that got their ass beat and got talked shit about, and they disassociate from the environment, because it does. You see that a lot in the comics too. Like you see a lot of these Black, safe Black comics that are like, what? I don't, like all these niggas out here dating white women, acting like they don't. I'm the non-threatening Black guy. And so you have that part of it. Then you also have people of color who have egregiated themselves and got themselves into a situation where their money stream comes from whiteness. Michael Jordan, for example. So when he goes on and says, Republicans buy sneakers too, he has already given up to that his part of the fight is with his people, because he's making money. So these people are going, listen, there's no reason to fight against this system. I get like this a lot too, because I get tired of being the only person that has common fucking sense. I'm around a lot of niggas that sleep, And so when I say anything, they the first ones on the first level to try to knock down whatever I'm saying. Like, oh, it's not that bad. Like I'll say, like I said, we have to, when I look at television and I see we want to have diversity, right? But I'll notice that they take the Black family and they don't really show the Black family. They always will show a mixed couple now, and they'll show a Black man, mostly Black man, with some level different tier of white woman. And then every now and then they'll throw a Black woman in, and she'll have like some ambiguous guy or she by herself raising these children. Like what we see in media is very telling. So when I say the Black men, I said for all of because this whole thing with the police has really turned into a Black male issue. Oh, they killing Black men, and we're like, no, they're killing all Black people. They're killing people of color. You can't forget the Breonna Taylors. So when you have a case like Breonna Taylor, and there's crickets, and really a lot of crickets from Black men who have asked Black women to show up for them, and we show up for them no matter how sketchy or whatever the shit they tried to make the shit to be. We go, no, he shouldn't be fucking dead, and we fighting. But you can't get that same reciprocity as a Black woman from Black men sometimes. Mm-hmm. So what happens is I go, that direct correlation with us not loving each other is because we don't fuck with each other. And so when I tell these Black male comics, when I go somewhere and I say, how many of these Black men in comedy are with white women? Does anybody not see that that's strange? I get labeled as a hater. Oh, you just hating because you blah, blah, blah. No, okay, so that's the generic, easy thing to say that I'm a hater. Because first of all, I don't want to fuck y'all. So for me, and that's not to say I have fucked Black comics, but what I'm saying is I would have to fuck all of y'all to give a fuck about who you. I'm talking about on a grand scheme, right, that whatever it is, the imaging of Black women is always, and this is what I get hit with, you're loud, you're rude, you're nasty, you got an attitude. Don't nobody want to fuck with no Black woman. She got an attitude. Oh, Black women ain't shit. They don't never hold they men down. They just, some Black men will tell you the worst thing that ever happened to Black men is Black women, right? These are the perceptions that I have on me and Black women have on them. And you'll never have that same level of perception on all white women, and we've literally named every white woman Karen.
Yeah.
We've literally seen, you ain't seen Black women calling the cops on no Black man for trying to deliver pizza Who you doing here? He got a pizza box on a pizza hat. You ain't seen no black women calling the cops on no Uber driver. You ain't seen no black women calling the cops because the guy's sitting on a bench. We've seen nothing but white women do that. White people, but mostly white women, so much so that it's white women that we've named them Karen, and niggas is still out here, I gotta get me a white woman. But they don't see anything dangerous about a lot. You don't. So whatever you keep saying about black women and the danger and the fear, whatever, you don't see this when you line yourself with these white women who, number one, ain't on the front lines champion when you niggas get killed. Number two, if their attitude changes, you gonna get killed. And number three, you're in a situation where you're not with your people. So when I tell people to think about, and so it's like, I'm not against interracial relationships. If it's love, obviously. But we have to ask ourselves a question. Why is it that it's so much always love is love when it comes from us, that we always giving love is love to other people? When I watched that porn documentary with all them women sucking and fucking and hitting dicks and getting fisted. And then you have a white woman going, yeah, I don't do black eyes. Bitch, what? Somebody just put a spatula and you telling me you don't do black men, but nobody says anything about that, right?
Right.
So
I found that strange. I've heard that once that there's quite a few that it's not an isolated incident. There's actually they required more money or something like that. In regards to that. And I've heard that.
They more money, but they fucking niggas for free on the outside world. And that's what I'm saying, because again, we have to look at, and it's hard for men, right? And I'm not, this is not to tear men down, because I love men. But one of the problems that men have that women don't is that men have these guttural desires and needs that need to be fulfilled on a very charge level. Like men sexually need to be fulfilled. Men in power need to feel the power. I have to be, and women, not that we don't feel those things. We don't feel those things to the point of like a takedown, like women are more aligned to, let me go into a place where I am received and loved and where I can give love and be received. Right. Versus like men are like, oh, I'm just going to take this thing. I'm going to bring this. And so men sort of bring things to them that don't necessarily represent him. And like, you'll see a lot of men get women, right? And then they'll get women aesthetically, which is why all these girls are trying to look the same now. A man's like, I want a hot girl. Not even so much because he loves the girl, but because a hot girl is going to get him looks from other guys, because they're going to be looking at this girl and go, oh man, this is a level of power that he has because he got this hot chick. You understand? And then men are like, well, I got to be in business and industry and I got to make the money so that people are looking. So, when you see that things get collected, I also tell women they have to be very specific and understand that if you can be collected like that, that means you are a commodity. You are not playing in the same game. So we become an extension of things that men are collecting. So it's such a layered problem with how we get to a place of peace and calmness that it would take everybody in every section to get themselves together, to check themselves, come back to the serving table, have conversations for us to get to this utopia. I think it's impossible. So that's also why people get tired, because it's like, my grandparents tried to do this in their lifetime. I see my mother trying to do it in hers. I'm about to waste my time doing it in mine. And at the end of the day, I've spent all this time trying to make a society better that is going to function and go with or without me being in that space. But what have I done with my time while I was in this space to enjoy it?
Yeah. I mean, that's a very interesting question we should all be asking ourselves. And I find that it is so hard not to be consumed by the present times and all the noise. And the fact of the matter is, you're right. I mean, we could fight, we could throw ourselves in it. But then I found not only is it can make you unhappy, and your happiness matters more than any of this bullshit. Your individual happiness matters more than any of this shit because if I'm not happy as an individual, best believe the relationship I have with my daughter, my wife, or you with you want a partner, your mother, whoever is going to be compromised because somehow we allowed all these outside entities to penetrate through our soul. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's that real. It's like, so somehow we got to block it. And maybe it's more simple than we ever imagined. Maybe it's through working out. Maybe it's through meditation. Maybe it's through unplugging. But I think there is a way and
definitely unplugging.
Yeah, unplugging. So I think there's a number of different ways, but it needs to be practiced. It needs to be practiced. It needs to be part of the ritual. And it needs to be simplified. We can't, especially in the industry that we're both a part of, it's like there's so much of there's so much instant validation. It's just so much noise. It's so competitive, and it's on a magnifying glass. There's a lot of dips, So you got to remain grounded, and you're an individual. Only so much that individuals can take. So I think it's a practice that requires the individual to find peace, and it has to be within yourself. And how we find that's our own journey. But man, I found through training, I wish I could adopt meditation as a part of it, but I just know through that individual journey, I think there is a place of solace and peace there, because the fight, everything we talked about, I agree with everything you said, but man, we heard the cliche ignorance is bliss. There's motherfuckers who just put blinders on that shit. They're like la 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 la.
Yeah, they having a good time.
But you got knowledge. You got that shit. And that's a burden. That's all right here. It's a lot, man.
It's a burden.
It's obviously to know all that, but there has to be a place of peace and letting go and allowing the resolve to happen in other areas because we can't control it all. We can't control it all.
Yeah, man. You can't. And people have to step up, right? So one of the things I realized, I said, we have the ability to go on stage in front of people and lay an opinion down that doesn't have to be, doesn't have to hold a lot of weight, right? In terms of it can hit you, but it doesn't come with an agenda because we're not sitting on Fox News or we're not sitting at a political table or the Senate telling you these things or a soapbox. We're on stage and they come into the material that we put out. But there also are people that need to come, and I said, this is where I don't have to put so much pressure on myself. Maybe as I get older, maybe I'll start to phase out of comedy so much and start to get more into politics. But there are young people that need to start, that get into politics, study political science, who I think our problem is that we don't listen to young people enough. I understand there's a point in time in which people have to mature so that they understand responsibility, right? But when we look at every time we go to elect a president is some old white nigga in his 70s, it's problematic. 70s, you retire at 65, you are eligible for retirement. So why nigga would be president at 77 is beyond me. And, and it's we got to start changing that. We got to start changing the system. And the reason why we can never change the system is because the white system has found a way to really brainwash other races of people that come in here and make them feel like they're part of the white dream when they're not. I remember, I don't remember, but there was a time in this country where Jews, Italians, and blacks were all in the same ghetto. And then one day they said, oh, well, it's just easier for us to tell the Jews and the Italians they white. And then ever since then, it's been a rift, right? All this hate against Italians and blacks, Jews and blacks. Mexicans come over here. They tell Mexicans they can't stand Mexicans, but then they also tell Mexicans, well, you're hardworking. You're better than these niggas. They don't work. But they want a test for, number one, putting crack into the black communities. That caused a hiccup that's going to take at least 40 years to get over. Not to mention slavery, which was already time we had to learn to get over. Economic disenfranchisement, not giving us our reparations that we needed.
And all which, by the way, people need to fucking remember that wasn't that long ago.
No, No.
When you think about this shit, people are like, oh, it's a long time ago. Just get over it attitude. That shit was not a long time ago.
No, it was people are still benefiting from, and that's what people have to understand. We keep saying, oh, the white people have money and this and that, as if white people are these entities that were, there's deities that came from opulence and wealth. Africans have the history and culture of royalty, of queens and kings, of, that sort of hierarchy. And then that's, this is why this is democracy here, right? Like democracy, or so to say. And then you have them taking people who have that sort of rich culture, ancestry, taking them from their land to go into their land and to bastardize their land, and then bring them here so that they can then till the land here and take all the things that they've learned and understand from their culture in Africa here in America, and then make America thrive. And so America has thrived on the backs of slaves. Now, how can it be that so many strong, powerful people can be controlled by a group of people that maybe not as strong as them?
Yeah.
It's in the mind. So when people understand the breakdown, when you look at black people and you go, oh, look at these black people, these niggas living in the ghetto and this and that, their mind is fucking gone. Their mind has been controlled. That's why they keep pumping these kids with all this fucking yik yak music, all this. Go listen to Travis Scott. Watch him. He's nigga that made it from the streets. And guess what? This is who you need to be. This is who you need to be. You need to be a Travis Scott, because look what he did. Oh, he went and got him a whole Kylie Jenner. So you got these young black boys in the hood trying to be a Travis Scott so that they can go get them a Kylie Jenner.
Yeah.
You understand? Which is why they had such a problem with the Cosby Show, because they don't want little black boys and little black girls seeing themselves as doctors and lawyers, seeing themselves marry one another and respect one another. They want them to all be Travis Scott, who, when Travis Scott got asked about police brutality, he go, I don't know nothing about that. Oh, you don't know nothing about that? Because you only a nigga from the streets. As black as you are, you don't understand police brutality. But he's in a different economic bracket now, so he want to act like, and he doesn't want to have that. He's got him a Kylie Jenner. So when we talk about the brainwashing starts with the kids, and the kids grow up to have kids that they also brainwash. If you put if the black and brown kids, if their perspective and their value is on this fucking yik yak music, which I also bip and bop to, but listen, I'm a grown ass bitch who can pay her bills, who has a career from time to time. I'm not an impressionable kid whose value, I look at these kids all the time and I'm just like, they fucking these kids up with all this stupid ass music, this dumb ass internet.
There definitely needs to be an intervention. And with that being said, with the parents immediately, right? So if I'm at home and my daughter is spending X amount of time on a tablet or something, I got to break that up. I got to break it up and say, you need to read half hour, and that's it. Because now you're internalizing the characters in the story. Your imagination is being developed, and you're able to articulate your thoughts. What we're experiencing now is like, everything is like quick injection of like endorphins through like validation, or like, even like what they find like with TikTok and, Instagram, which we're on and stuff, it's all immediate and fast, under 30 seconds. Nothing requires any real work or experiencing, experience, So it's like, it has to be broken up. And the thought, the ideology of, of going out and physically getting involved with certain things and reading and using your imagination have to be maintained and pushed forward, because we could lose that. Kids could completely lose that. And then it's just like, everything is just like a little injection of an endorphin boost.
Oh, when they gonna lose it? We're talking about kids now, right? They're saying the kids are introduced to the internet and middle school now. You know what is so funny? Because as I'm saying this, I'm thinking, I got white friends who don't let their kids watch TV. That's what I'm telling you. When they said in that documentary, they said, you notice that these tech people don't let their kids get involved in tech like that because they know what the shit is. Mm-hmm. I have white friends who go, oh, they don't watch TV. They don't have a tablet. They, watch PBS Kids for like an hour a day. That's it. They're outside playing. They're coloring. They're doing all these things. I have some friends who they sit their kid in front of that thing. Like one of my girlfriends, her son can text from my phone, and the nigga not even really 1 year old yet. The nigga not even 1 year old. He don't say shit. He I said the nigga. He knows text. So when they get into the mind that everything is you, and the only time you see yourself is when this screen goes black and you see your reflection in there. But other than that, it's taking something that should reflect you and it is covering it with information. So it's covering you with information.
Yeah.
And access and means and needs. And then the kids feel like, well, they got to have this. The parents, well, they got to keep up with this and the technology with that. It is going to destroy these kids because what is happening Yeah.
I mean, it's, we feel the effects as adults who experience both parts of it, because when we came up, we didn't have access to all that bullshit, right? But now we have access to it. And there are dips in how I feel emotionally when I'm too involved in that. I can only imagine. So imagine a kid, being conditioned to that from early on. They don't get to experience the other part, which is a necessity.
Which doesn't, and the balance would be if we saw kids of excellence being, uplifted as well. When this is social media, the catch me outside girl, catch me outside, who is completely making money off of appropriating or misappropriating all of the negative stereotypes of being a Black woman, right? You can't all that shit, right? So if a Black woman did it, be look at this dumb Black bitch, but she do it. Oh, look at that white girl, right? This girl, when I saw that, let me tell you, when I saw that shit, because I avoided. Oh, you gotta see that chick? She crazy. She crazy. I went and watched the episode. I said, there's no redeeming quality about this girl, and this is all nonsense.
Wait. When you say that episode, did she have her own show?
No, she was on Dr. Phil. That's how they got the stuff.
Okay. I thought like that was. I know that's where it was originally recorded, but when you said, I just thought she had like a spinoff off of that. And she eventually got her own show, which I wouldn't be surprised.
But in essence, she has.
Yeah.
Because she's now a rapper.
Okay.
Rapper. And guess who's facilitating that? The young Black kids are. And then now you got young Black girls who, if they acted like that, there would be negative connotations for them. There'd be negative results for them. They cannot profit off of acting like that, who are feeling, like, well, what do I do, right? They're trying to figure out, well, where do I come in? Because if I act like that, I don't get praised for that. And then you got little Black boys that's holding this girl up as some type of girl of honor that, that's my shorty. Because she running through niggas left and right. So they fucking, but they are. But so this little girl that is doing all this got niggas supporting her. I dated a nigga who said this, and I quote, because the girl said something about the little Black girls were like, well, you acting like us. You're trying to have a voice. And she go, well, I don't say nothing about y'all wearing weaves and so and so and so. Y'all don't even wear your own hair. And I dated a nigga who said, yeah, she told them Black girls how it is. This is a nigga I'm dating. Oh, yeah, she told them Black. I said, how did she tell him? Oh, yeah, because y'all don't be wearing y'all hair. Y'all be... I said, nigga, first of all that hair she wearing ain't hers. That's number one. Number two, white people are not wearing their hair and they stay. No Black girl is going to a beauty supply store going, give me the Becky. Now, it is problematic that Black women are wearing weaves to the extent we wear, but also we've been adjusting and assimilating to the society since the beginning of time. That's why we had relaxers. That's why we had hot combs. That's why we had all these things. We had to do all these things to our hair to make white people comfortable. So don't act like Black women just got up and said, I only look look good because I'm wearing this type of hair. But then also let's remember, you got niggas out here that have been conditioned by the society that they live in, looking at black women's hair going, I'm not attracted to that. I need this type of hair. So you see, it's a system that breaks down in so many different ways. And guess who loses? Black people lose. Black women specifically lose. Specifically. Because when you look at the rate of marriage in America and who gets married the least, it is Asian men and black women. And why is that? Asian men, everybody think they got little dicks. And black women, they big, nasty, buffoon bitches with attitudes. But it ain't stopping from white women from getting married. Latin women are getting married. Indian women are getting married. Asian women are getting married. So when you talk about when we put this thing up and it keeps telling us what's what, there's no way you're going to break out of a system that's controlling your mind. The reason why I don't have a problem with this, and I'm on it a lot, is because my mind is not controlled. I see the shit that they doing.
Right.
But you got to see, before you get on this, niggas need to know what the truth is. That's the problem. People don't know the truth. You got to look at this and go, oh.
Yeah, it is wild, like all the, this constant flow of misinformation. It's just like, it's constant, it's just, but you're bombarded with shit all the time. So it's like, it could be very overwhelming, it could be fucking overwhelming. But
it's not going to get any better.
It's not. That's why I think going back to my point of like, as an individual, I think with this, and I say this just talking to you and reminding myself that that's where that's where the fucking the peace starts, And if I could remain happy and upbeat and have a good spirit about myself, the people I interact with, whether they're loved ones or friends and family, that's the impression I leave. But that's it. This fucking I will go out and protest because I've done it a number of times before that shit was popular. I've always been, but I can't let it. Because that shit's popping now, right? And people want...
Yeah, everybody. I'm going to... what do you wear? People wearing protest outfits.
Yo.
I'm going to wear this to the... I'm like, bitch.
There's bullshit everywhere. Yamaneika, I seen dudes at the protest, and I'm like, that dude doesn't give a fuck about the cause. He's trying to fuck. Like, he was on a bike. He's like that. Like, he had the shirt hanging from the handlebar. All of that. Oh, he's trying to get some protest pussy. He's trying to fuck out here. And he looked good, too. I looked at him. I'm like, this dude's crazy. He was like this on the...
You hear me when I pray that you call this episode Protest Pussy?
Yo, so no matter what, it's inevitable. There's always going to be some dirtbag, hidden agenda bullshit. And it was so blank because he was looking around like this.
Yeah.
On the bike. Leading the protest. The first motherfucker you see is this motherfucker. It's like,
yes. He lucky I wasn't there because I'd have fucked him.
No matter where you go, you're gonna see the bullshit, man.
Yeah, it's always gonna be the bullshit. But this shit does go in cycles. It gets bad and it gets better. And at one point they said there was dinosaurs here, so them niggas not even here no more. So they went through it. So maybe we the second dinosaurs, and after us something else is gonna come. But you're right. I was in my apartment for 5 months. I didn't have to go nowhere because I got Instacart, Uber Eats, Target, Amazon. You can literally, and a TV and PlayStation, Like, I literally hunkered in here and did not go nowhere because it's easy to be isolated. But, I knew this ever since we started the internet when I was in high school. Had the AOL and all that stuff. And the teacher was talking about how we needed to be responsible because it was going to get to a point in time where people didn't even have to go out and have dates anymore. They could just do everything online. And it's true. It's like, it is hard. I have to tell a lot of my girlfriends to be very careful, even when they get on like these dating sites, because I'm like,
Have you ever done any of the dating sites? You don't talk about that?
I've never gone on a date, but I've been with guys who have frequented those, and I think it's, the reason why I've never gone on a date from it is because I'm not a fool. You understand? Like, I'm not a delusional fool. So sometimes there's fools that are like, you know, it's a breeding ground for narcissists. And don't even get me talking about narcissists, because that's a whole different topic for a different day. And that's a whole 2-hour discussion. Right. But it's, you know, it's a place where, again, we have a lot of these things in our world that are predator prey. So it's one of those things where it's predator prey, because you get a lot of lonely, vulnerable people who are either too shy to go out and look for love, or feel like they're not really attractive enough to go out, or have a personality enough. And they go somewhere where it should be a safe haven for them to meet people like themselves, you know, who just are looking for connection to see if something develops. And it's all it starts off beautiful. The process is beautiful. But then what happens is you get people like that pussy protest guy who's like on there looking and side swiping and looking, because this is like, now this site has given niggas like that access. And when I say niggas, I mean white, black, and everything in between. But it has given niggas like that the access to vulnerable, insecure women who they can just run through like milk.
Yeah, it's a weird thing, man. It's like there's people at your disposal, at a physical swipe. Like, oh yeah, just like, it's a weird thing, and I think it kind of ruins the social interaction between people. You know, even back when I was trying to look for chicks on like AOL chat rooms, that shit never stopped.
Oh my God, you just
that shit.
AOL chat room. I remember them chat rooms, and I would be like 20 and the like 40 and up, because I was like, yo, I'm tired of these young niggas.
Yeah, you'd be like 40 and older. Yeah. Every girl I spoke to was like, BX mommy for you to envy. I'm like, what the? Yeah. The N was an actual N and the letter V.
Yes.
You know, it was that's, you want to talk, and that was my first taste. And I know I gotta let you go, Susan. I appreciate your time, but I'm gonna tell you, in terms of like addiction, that was my first taste of addiction. Because I would get home from school in a backpack, Yamaneika, and sign on with a backpack still on.
Yeah.
You know, and I was nasty. I used to tell that cyber sex. We're old white women from the Midwest, like, yo, what you wearing? You know, like, and trying to sell this. Yeah, I used to say I was loud. I'm a Latin man from New York. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. So they're like, oh, really? Oh, my name is Karen.
Yeah, exactly. I was probably fucking with lots. I was probably cyber sexing with hundreds of Karens. And there was no picture, so it was all descriptive. You know, if you had a picture on AOL, you were popping. If you were able to scan a picture, you were popping. I didn't have a picture. You just had to take my word for it.
Yes!
For real. For real.
Yo, we had a computer. We had a computer in our house. And I remember doing school projects, and we had a printer. This printer came with the little perforated sides, and it was like a banner. And it was I remember going to sleep and hoping that it would be done in time when I woke up the next day. You remember that?
Yes.
Going to sleep, hoping that this shit printed out overnight.
All your ink. And the ink never went down in price. Ink is like $45. Why is ink so fucking expensive? And that shit lasts 2 hours.
You better go have a squid farm, because I have a color printer now, and I'm like, I accidentally started printing something in color like 2 days ago. I was like, I need that. Nah, I'm not doing nothing in color. Everything over here, black and white, baby.
Oh man, Yamaneika, I have a lot of love for you. Thank you so much. I know you gotta go, so I want to be the one letting you go, because I am having a good time. There's gonna be a part 2. I'm gonna have you back on, but I know you got like other podcasts to do. Plug in all the social media platforms, and then I'm gonna let you. And then you're free to go.
Okay. Well, you can catch me at Yamaneika, which is YAMANEIKA, on all social media. I have a show on Friday on YouTube. It telecasts to YouTube, Periscope, and Facebook. It's live with Yamaneika. It's at 10 p.m. on Friday. 10 p.m. It's at 10 p.m. on Fridays, Eastern Standard Time, which makes it 9 Central and 7 Pacific Standard Time. I also have my podcast, Rant and Rave with Yamaneika and Friends. You can check out on Spotify, iTunes, iCloud. And, you know, that's it. And just type my name into Google and you can see other things.
You're the best, Boo Boo. I appreciate you. Your energy is dope. I knew it would be a blast. And thank you so much. And yeah, I'll speak to you sooner than later.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good day. I'll see you later.
All right, baby. Thank you.
Bye.